Hey you guys, welcome to this video. Today we will be talking about the children, and it is quite a while since we've been talking about the children now. And I received this beautiful question in the comment section on one of my videos a few weeks ago about how to best assist the children with all these energies that are coming in now. And yesterday I was in a trance channel and I had my friend asking some questions, and this is one of the questions that was asked. So in this video I will share with you what was received in that channeling. As always, you can find all my information in the description box below. There, how to book a personal session with me. You find my social media, my website and everything. So if you're looking for any of that, just take a look in the description box. Now, what I said about the children is, and I will just go through the points that they were talking about. First thing they mentioned was allow them to connect with nature. It's super important to allow them to be in nature, to play in nature. They need grounding and they need to connect with Mother Earth. They need to be just free in the nature and connecting, because that reminds them of that natural state, and it allows also for the body, just as for the adults, right, to ground in and to allow the energies to move through the body and actually into the earth, so it doesn't stop in the body. Second, they said allow them to choose their tribe. Sometimes we can forget how much the children actually know or what is right for them. And they said that our task really as adults around children is to sort of train them into being a human. But they do know a lot from their really, really small of who they are. They have a lot of remembrance and they do have a feeling of what resonates. So allow the children to navigate with this rather than disconnecting them from that. And allowing them to choose their tribe is one of those things that can allow them to remember more and to stay connected. Then I said the third point, and this is, it might seem like an obvious thing when we're talking about children, but I said allow the children to play. I think sometimes it's very easy to forget the importance of play because we tend to forget it as adults. But the importance of play also for the energy to move through their bodies and for, you know, allowing them to be free in that and not have too many challenges is to actually let them play, because in play they are moving their bodies, they are being creative, they are being very free. Playing in nature is awesome. There they also get to connect with nature with all of this. So this is something that really, really assists and help. Now, number 4 they said was remember to listen to the children. They need to be heard. And they said in today's society, we are not very good at listening to our children. It actually helps the energy to move through them. And why is that? It is because just as these energies are moving through, coming into the body, it's moving through, they have less of densities, less consciousnesses held in the body, so stored trauma, stored emotions, stored, you know, the thought patterns, all of this. It's less of that in the body of a child. Now, that means that more of the energy is actually moving through without much resistance, without much that it's bumping into like it is with us adults. But the people around and the society actually for children might act as, you know, much in the same way as the densities that we as adults are holding in our bodies. And this is because if what is moving through them is not allowed to be expressed, that stops the energy and keeps it inside our bodies. So when we actually listen and are present with the children, that allows this energy to move through them more. And really, really listening, because there will be more and more wisdom coming through these children. They need outlets for their energy and for their creativity. So being really creative about creative expressions. How do they want to express? And let them be creative. Let them explore different expressions and what they want to do, what is natural for them. This is not about the adults around sort of like using the mind and trying to figure out and use logic on what probably is the best thing. This is about watching, observing, listening to the child and see what is the most natural for them. How do they want to express and support that creative expression. This is really important. This has a lot to do with allowing the energy to move through and to ground, both out in expressions and into the earth and into the nature. Then they, and with being present, I'm just taking a look at my notes here. With being present, it's also about being an example. So not only obviously saying things and using a lot of words, but actually being an example of how to be a human. This goes with how do we meet emotions, how do we meet challenges, how do we meet things that are uncomfortable. Because as I said, human life contains experiences also that are uncomfortable. And we don't want to try to take all of that out or make it everything super easy, because that doesn't prepare them for what life actually is, but to sit with them in whatever arises, just like we are practicing with ourselves, right? With our inner child, really, with ourselves, that when something arises in our lives, we meet it, we are present with it, and it moves through, and then we can continue. This is what we are learning. And as we are teaching ourselves this is also what to teach the children. Be present with them and allow them to have experiences that are uncomfortable, and allow them to feel that it's uncomfortable, and that is okay, because that actually strengthens their muscle of presence, of not avoiding or escaping from what is arising. It lets them have the experience that, oh, this thing is happening, this is a bit uncomfortable, but in a couple of minutes or tomorrow or next week, all will be good, and I will, things will be fine again, or feel better. It's just moving, it's just energy, it's moving. And they also talked about diet and food. They said, let the children have access to clean food. And again, this is a point where they focus on control. It is not about control, it is about enhancing their system. So it's not about teaching a child to control their intake, what they're eating. This is not a healthy way of dealing with any intake or what we feed, neither ourselves nor children. It is about allowing them to have access to clean food, and to really focus on the nurturing of the system to work the best way possible. What they mentioned specifically was that there's currently a lack of fiber in the diet of many children. And I will preface anything I'm saying here that with, I'm not a medical doctor. All of these messages are channeled. So whatever is, if you're a parent, there are any health issues, anything, do contact your medical doctor, and also use your intuition, because you know your child. But what I talked about when it comes to the fiber is really linked to what we just mentioned as well. So this is about the fiber is something that the stomach has to actually digest, right? It's something it has to work with. And when it has to work with something, it strengthens it. So it's the same as teaching the child to actually be in the uncomfortable, and learning that, okay, the uncomfortable passes if I'm just present with it. That strengthens that muscle of presence and muscle of being able to handle and be in the uncomfortable, as it's part of life as everything else. The same with fiber, it's strengthening. So think of that both in a very direct sense about in the diet, and also in general of how you approach a child. Then the last point that I mentioned was if there are cases of seizures. This can of course be many reasons, and here it's important to consult a medical doctor as well. But what I said is that it often has to do with all the energy coming in and the energy not being able to ground or being expressed. And then this is electrical energy, right? So it creates a lot of, like, it's an overload of energy in the system. And really I can relate to this because I actually experienced some seizures some years ago, and this was in the beginning of my channeling journey. And I didn't know that I was, that this was to happen with the channeling. I didn't know what was happening at all. But what I did learn after some experience with this is that the energy came into me, and I didn't. It's really the same as the children, right? I didn't yet have the ability or didn't know that this was energy that was actually to move out. So all the energy that came in stayed in my system, and my nervous system had an overload and it started shaking, really. That's what happened. So it's about grounding the energy and expressing the energy. And this doesn't have to be in the sense of channeling as it was in my case, but for the children that have less of the densities that it's moving through, the energy comes, it moves through the body and it needs to move out. So ground, hydrate, the balance of the liquids in the body is really important when it comes to the seizures, and also the creative outlet. So ground, hydrate, and creative outlet. This is super important and can assist the beautiful children on this planet a lot. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Please ask questions if there's anything. I will try to find answers to what I can. If this was helpful for you, please share the video along. That is great help. It really supports my work with all engagement, likes, subscribes, everything. I really appreciate you for being here, and I will come back with more information from this channeling. There was a lot, and I am digesting it and and listening to it. So I will be back with more information. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. I'll see you in the next video.